Hey friends, welcome back to the Guitar Max channel, and even though Eddie Van Halen is no longer with us, he is still making headlines. One of his iconic guitars was sold at auction recently, and this was the guitar that was used in the Hot for Teacher music video, and the guitar was auctioned for almost $4 million. Now what's more, the backstory of this guitar is fascinating because this guitar was not just like sitting in the EVH estate vault or something like that, but it went through a long and winding road to find its way on the auction block. Alright, so I have all the details up here. We're going to go through this. I'm going to share all this stuff with you guys, but of course, real quick, as always, if you enjoy videos like this, checking out cool new guitars and staying up on all the guitar news, the latest news in the guitar universe, and you have not already subscribed, please consider subscribing right now. Okay, so let's go over and look at this article here, and as usual, I'm going to have a link for this original article down in the video description below. But look at this headline here on guitar.com. Eddie Van Halen's Hot for Teacher Kramer fetches whopping $4 million at auction. And there is some classic pictures of the guitar and Eddie using it. Let's read here. The famed custom-made Kramer guitar used by Eddie Van Halen in the music video for Hot for Teacher has sold for almost $4 million at auction. The guitar was initially given an upper estimation of $2 to $3 million by auctioneers, but managed to fetch the eye-popping price of $3,932,000 United States dollars, making it one of the most expensive guitars ever auctioned. Only two other guitars have been auctioned for a higher price, Guitar World reports, both of which belong to Kurt Cobain. The Smells Like Teen Spirit Mustang, which sold for $4,550,000, and his Martin D18E from Nirvana's iconic MTV Unplugged set, which sold for $6,010,000. So, personally, of course, to me, the Eddie Van Halen guitar is worth way, way, way more than any sort of Kurt Cobain associated guitar. But that's just my personal taste, right? Anyway, let's go ahead and read on here. Sotheby's gained the guitar via Van Halen's retiring drum tech, Greg Emerson, around 1990, who later passed it on to his nephew. It was then sold to Neil's Music in California, where the pre-auction owner picked it up. The guitar's new owner will receive a letter of provenance from Paul Unkert and a signed photo from Eddie Van Halen, as well as the straight jacket and white gloves he wore in the music video. Very cool. The new owner will also receive the guitar's original case. Now that's really interesting. I don't know if all of that stuff, like it was agreed upon with the auction, like you're going to get the case and the jacket and the gloves along with the guitar. But yeah, having just the guitar on its own is already really cool, but when you have all this other associated swag with it, to me that drives the price way up. But let's see what else they have here. Van Halen's iconic guitar features a 22-fret bolt-on maple neck with a single Seymour Duncan humbucker, a single volume knob, and a Floyd Rose bridge, make up the rest of the appointments. Now that's the end of the article there, and of course they have a link to that classic music video down there. And it's worth noting, this article came out just a few days ago, so this was very recently. Now, if we go back in time, I've got another article to show you here. And this is, that first article was on guitar.com. This next one is from Guitar World. And here, from a couple years ago, there's another article about some Eddie Van Halen guitars being sold at auction. But these guitars only sold for $422,000, the three of them altogether. But the thing about these guitars is these are ones that, like, were sort of production guitars, and he'd autograph them and that kind of stuff. So they still had a legitimate personal connection to Eddie Van Halen. But these guitars were not something that was like a one-off custom build for Eddie Van Halen, and certainly they didn't have any of the connections of like being used in the Hot for Teacher video, which has gone on to be such a classic Eddie Van Halen track, right? I mean, everybody who knows Eddie Van Halen knows that song. So I can see why these guitars did not fetch nearly as much money, but it's still a lot of money. Now, my personal feeling on this is that this is fantastic. I love the fact that Eddie Van Halen, even after his death, a guitar like this is, with this personal connection to him, is worth so much money to a collector. I mean, that just shows the sort of lasting impact that Eddie Van Halen has had and will continue to have on music even going forward. I am hopeful that Eddie Van Halen will continue to be thought of as one of those musicians that really just completely changed the course of music and music history. And I think this is a good indication that that will happen. Now, continuing on the topic of expensive guitars for sale, there's something else that I kind of want to tag on to the end of this video here. And that is that Buckethead, everyone's favorite guitarist that wears a KFC bucket on his head, he is going to be selling his Jackson, his custom-made Jackson V. It's kind of like a King V, right? And what's really interesting about this guitar is that he used this guitar during his time in Guns N' Roses. Like, you guys remember the whole Chinese Democracy album? It took like 13 years to record. Well, Buckethead was in Guns N' Roses for like 5 years, and he played on the album, and this was the guitar he used. And it is now up for sale. So let's take a quick look at this article, also on guitar.com. Here's the headline: Buckethead to sell his legendary Jackson KFC KV2 Custom V guitar. There is the man himself and the guitar. The article starts here: guitar virtuoso Buckethead has announced the sale of his iconic Jackson KFC KV2 Custom V Electric. News of the instrument's sale was reported by dedicated Buckethead YouTube channel Natternet, which shared that multiple six-figure offers have already been put forth by parties interested in acquiring the famed axe. Owned by Buckethead for over 2 decades, the V is one of the guitarist's most recognizable instruments, having featured prominently across his solo shows, reunion gigs with Maximum Bob, and during his time with Guns N' Roses from 2000 to 2004. It was also used in many of Buckethead's recordings, including the 2006 album Chicken Noodles in collaboration with producer Travis Dickerson. Now, of course, Buckethead has like 200 albums. It's not 200, but it's some ridiculously high number like that. And I don't know how many of them he used this guitar on, but it's a safe bet that a large chunk of his catalog was recorded using this guitar. But the article goes on here. Specs-wise, the guitar sports a white finish with the trademark KFC bucket logo and the words Buckethead and Kentucky Fried Chicken emblazoned on its body. Appointments include a pair of DiMarzio X2N PU humbuckers, a Floyd Rose tremolo, and a kill switch to round things off. Notably, the guitar is based on the Dave Mustaine Y2K Signature V, though with a reverse headstock instead of the 3 on a side configuration. Only one of these guitars was ever made, which adds to its rarity and exclusivity. Fans interested in owning a piece of Buckethead history can contact the man over on his official website. So let's go over to the official website and just see what it says about this guitar here. Okay. Well, that's not very much. So they've got a picture of the guitar, and then for sale, contact and the email address and that kind of stuff. Kind of wish it had, no. Oh well. Well, if you wanted a picture of the guitar, there you go. And if you want to put in an offer, and it's kind of sound like he's hinting that it's got to be, you know, a minimum of 6 figures. So starting at $100,000 and going up from there, that sounds like the kind of offers that he's going to be entertaining. All right, guys, let me know what you think of all of this stuff down in the comments section below. Now, I love the fact that an Eddie Van Halen guitar is still going for this much money, almost $4 million, even after his death. And yeah, like I said, it just gives me a lot of hope for the popularity of guitar today and going forward. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Again, I'm going to have links for all of these articles, everything I was talking about in the video, down in the video description below. And guys, if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will talk to you very soon.